It's regarding Salah. Praying Witr according to the Hanafi fiqh. If in Witr on the third rak'ah, instead of raising my hands and saying Allahu Akbar, I go into ruku and stand up with the intention to go into sujood. Upon realizing my mistake, I raise my hands and read my dua qunut and carry on as normal. Do I have to do a sajda sahw for my mistake, or do I have to repeat my Salatul Witr?
I didn't follow this question, Brother Qamar. Are you saying that someone enters Witr or they enter Fard Salah?
No, it's Witr, Salatul Witr. Someone is praying on their own Salatul Witr. So in Hanafi fiqh, on the third rak'ah, after you've done the surah, Fatiha and a surah that you've joined, instead of going to ruku, you say Allahu Akbar to read the dua qunut. So that dua qunut, someone has mistakenly forgotten it, and instead of Allahu Akbar, instead of reading the dua qunut, they went to the ruku itself.
Yes.
Okay. Now, upon realizing that they have missed the dua qunut, so they come back from the ruku and they start reading dua qunut, and then they go on ruku and complete the salah, which says the sahw. Now, is that enough for sajda sahw, or do they need to repeat the entire Witr Salah?
So what's meant to have happened is, given the fact that they have moved into the ruku' position, assuming they've moved into it fully or more than half, then actually according to the Hanafi school of thought, they've now missed a wajib of the Witr itself. And that means they should make sujood sahw later on. Okay, so they should make sujood sahw later on, but not that they should actually come out of ruku', which is an actual rukun of salah, and go back and do the dua al-qunut and then carry on from there. So having done that, then inshallah that's fine for what's happened, but not to be repeated in the future thereafter. Okay. And some more of the view that actually what would be required is actually a repeating of the whole of the witr, because actually they broke the pattern and the form of the salah by going into a rukn and then going back, rising them back into the standing position, qunut, and then going to do ruku again. Some of the view that actually that's required to be repeated. Inshallah, we say it's fine that what they've done is they've done, but in future what they should do is, if they forgot it, then they should just simply carry on and make sujood at the sahw at the end. And that's according to the Hanafi school of thought. The other schools of thought that do not require dua al-qunut, then they will say there's no sujood sahwin required in the first place.
Okay, and also there's another thing, important point I have to mention here, because the question is asking, I go into the ruku and stand up with the intention to go into sujood. In that scenario as well, same process applies?
The same process applies, correct.
Okay, excellent. Also, another thing, can we not do, for example, if someone has mistakenly forgotten dua qunut and they went to the ruku, we know there is another form of witr, or if you can kindly correct us, that when you stand up from the ruku, you can raise your hand and start doing dua qunut as well. Isn't that a correct process?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So the madhab, basically, based on the fact that the narrations from the Prophet ﷺ, some of them have narrated the qunut happening before the ruku. Others stated after the ruku. Now, the scholars of Islam, the jurists, they took up 3 approaches in this respect. 2 main approaches, and I'll explain what the third one is in a moment. One approach was actually that, so in essence, the first 2 approaches, they're looking at the same ahadith, and and each of the 2 approaches, one is giving preference to one set of ahadith, seeing it as more authentic, more relied upon, or the final practice of the Prophet ﷺ. And thus the abrogating practice. Okay, so in that respect, the more Kufan school, which is the Hanafi school here, says that actually it is meant to be before the ruku. So that's the time they see it as being before the ruku. Okay, as for the Shafi'i position and the Hanbali, then they see in the main set, the Hanbali, they say it's meant to be after the ruku. So you do a ruku, you stand up, and then you do the qunut, and then you go into sujood if you're performing this qunut. However, there's a third approach which says actually both have been narrated from the Prophet ﷺ, and both are authentic and acceptable, and thus maybe someone would sometimes do A, sometimes do B. So, but in the madhab's official positions, no, they wouldn't. A Hanafi would not avail himself of the Shafi'i position later on, and Allah knows best.
Okay, excellent. So if someone follows Hanafi fiqh, I literally have 20 seconds. They forgot raising their hands. They went to the ruku, but they come back and raise their hands to do dua qunut. Do they still have to make sajda sahw?
Yes, they would.
Okay, excellent. That is clear.